At the family reunion, my aunt pulled David aside. "Are you sure about Sophia?" she whispered. But I heard. I was standing 10 feet away, holding a plate of potato salad I didn't want, watching my Aunt Karen lean in close to my fiancé with that concerned expression she'd perfected over years of inserting herself into other people's business. David's face changed. Just slightly. A tightness around his eyes, a shift in his posture. He'd heard this before. Many times before. "I'm sure," he said quietly. But he didn't sound sure. He sounded tired. David had been hearing whispers like that for 5 years. Anonymous texts telling him I was cheating. Blurry photos that could have been me with another man. Witnesses who'd seen me at hotels, at bars, at restaurants with men who weren't him. Each piece of evidence carefully crafted. Each accusation strategically timed. I thought he was paranoid. I thought his insecurity was destroying us. I'd spent 5 years defending myself against accusations I didn't understand, proving my innocence to crimes I didn't commit. Then I found the burner phone in my father's car. "My name is Sophia Bennett. I have curly brown hair that I've never quite learned to tame, always a little wild, always escaping whatever style I try to force it into. I have hazel eyes that change color depending on the light, green in the sun, brown in shadow. I have what people call a gentle expression, the kind of face that makes strangers tell me their problems in grocery store lines. I'm 28 years old. I've been with David for 5 years. And for every single one of those years, my family has been systematically trying to destroy our relationship. I just didn't know it until 2 weeks ago. David and I met when I was 23. A coffee shop in Portland, the kind of meet cute that feels too perfect to be real. He was reading a book I loved. I commented on it. We talked for 3 hours, coffee going cold, the barista eventually asking us to leave because they were closing. He was kind. Genuinely kind. Not the performative kind that evaporates once you're in a relationship. He listened when I talked. He remembered small details. He made me laugh in a way that felt effortless. I brought him home to meet my family after 3 months. Too soon, maybe, but I was happy. Genuinely, completely happy in a way I hadn't been in years. My parents' house was exactly as I remembered. Large, well-maintained, designed to impress. My mother, Patricia, greeted us at the door with her hostess smile. My father, Robert, shook David's hand with that assessing grip men do. My younger brother, Marcus, barely looked up from his phone. Dinner was polite. Questions about David's work as an architect. Comments about how nice it was to see me with someone. My mother's carefully neutral observations about relationships being hard work. Everything seemed normal. But later that night, after we'd driven back to my apartment, David was quiet. "What's wrong?" I asked. "Nothing. Just, your dad asked me a lot of questions. About my past relationships. About whether I'd ever cheated on anyone. He's protective. That's normal. I guess." But he looked uncertain. That was the first seed. I didn't recognize it as such then. I thought it was just typical parental vetting. The first text came 2 weeks later. David and I were having dinner when his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, frowned, then put it away. "What was that?" "Nothing. Spam." But he was distracted the rest of the night. Quiet in a way that felt heavy. I found out later it wasn't spam. It was a message from an unknown number. "Ask Sophia about the guy from her gym." There was no guy from my gym. I didn't even have a gym membership. But the text planted a question David couldn't quite shake. Over the next few months, more texts came. More anonymous messages. Always vague. Always just specific enough to sound credible. Saw Sophia at the Hilton bar Tuesday night. Wasn't alone. Does she still talk to her ex? They looked pretty close at Starbucks. Just thought you should know. Sophia's Tinder profile is still active. I didn't have a Tinder profile. I wasn't at the Hilton. I hadn't seen my ex in 3 years. But David started asking questions. Gentle at first, almost apologetic. "Were you at the Hilton last Tuesday?" "No, I was home." "Why?" "Just wondering." Then less gentle. More direct. Tinged with suspicion. "Someone saw you there." "Who?" "I don't know. Someone texted me." "David, I wasn't there." "I don't know who's telling you this, but they're lying." "Why would someone lie?" I didn't have an answer. Who would do that? Why would anyone bother to fabricate these things? I assumed it was some ex of his. Some jealous former girlfriend trying to sabotage us. David thought maybe it was someone from my past, someone who couldn't let go. We never considered it might be my family. The messages escalated. Photos started arriving. Blurry shots that could have been me. A woman with curly brown hair getting into a car with a man. A couple at a restaurant, faces obscured but the woman's build similar to mine. Someone entering a hotel, shot from behind. This isn't me, I'd say over and over, staring at photos that looked just enough like me to plant doubt. Then who is it? I don't know. Someone who looks like me. This is crazy, David. You can't believe this. I want to believe you. But why would someone go to this effort if it wasn't real? That question haunted us. The why. Because without understanding the why, the evidence seemed more credible than my denials. Our relationship became a cycle of accusations and defenses. David trying to trust me while drowning in evidence that I was lying. Me trying to prove my innocence while feeling increasingly helpless against an invisible enemy. By year 3, we'd almost broken up twice. Both times, David said he couldn't do it anymore. Couldn't live with the doubt. Couldn't keep questioning everything. Both times, I begged him to stay. Promised I wasn't lying. Swore I loved only him. And both times he stayed. Because underneath the doubt, underneath the poison being dripped into our relationship, there was love. Real love. The kind that's worth fighting for. But it was exhausting. For both of us. My family, meanwhile, was always supportive. Always sympathetic. Always ready with advice. Relationships are hard, my mother would say when I called her crying. Trust is so fragile. Once it's broken, it's almost impossible to rebuild. Maybe you two need some space, my father suggested. Give him time to work through his insecurity. Have you given him reason not to trust you? My brother asked once, blunt as always. No. Marcus, I haven't done anything. Someone is making this up. Then why don't you just find out who? I tried. I really tried. I went to the places mentioned in the texts, the hotels, the bars, the restaurants. I asked if anyone had security footage from the dates mentioned. I got nothing. Either the footage was long deleted, or the staff couldn't help without a police report, which I didn't have grounds to file. I felt trapped in a nightmare where I was guilty of crimes I didn't commit, sentenced to defend myself forever without any way to prove my innocence. David started therapy. His therapist suggested I might be gaslighting him, making him feel crazy for reasonable concerns. That almost ended us for good. Your therapist thinks I'm manipulating you? She thinks there might be explanations I'm not seeing. I'm not cheating, David. I'm not lying. I'm not gaslighting you. Someone else is doing this to us. Then who? Why? I didn't know. And not knowing felt like losing. By year 4, we were hanging on by threads. We still loved each other. Still wanted to make it work. But the constant doubt was suffocating both of us. Then 6 months ago, something shifted. David got a phone call from a woman claiming to be a former colleague of mine, saying she'd seen me with someone at a work conference, giving specific details about dates and hotels. Except I'd never worked at the company she mentioned. Never been to that conference. The whole story was fabricated. For the first time, David had something concrete to investigate. He called the company. They had no record of me ever working there. The conference she mentioned? I wasn't registered. The lie was provable. Finally, someone is making this up, David said that night, holding me while I cried from relief. Someone is deliberately trying to break us up. But who? Why would anyone do this? We made a list. Ex-girlfriends of David. Ex-boyfriends of mine. Co-workers who might be jealous. Friends who'd had falling outs with us. We investigated each one. Found nothing. Everyone had alibis, lived in different cities, or had no motive. Maybe it's random, David suggested. Some stranger who's obsessed. But that didn't make sense either. The information was too specific. Too targeted. Whoever was doing this knew details about our lives that a stranger wouldn't know. The answer came 2 weeks ago. Accidentally. In the most mundane way possible. My father's car broke down. He called me to pick him up from the shop where it was being repaired. I drove him home, then remembered I'd left my phone charger in his car the week before. Mind if I grab it from your car? Sure, keys are on the counter. I went out to his Lexus, opened the passenger door, started searching the center console. My charger wasn't there. I checked the glove compartment and found a phone. Not my father's iPhone. A cheap flip phone, the kind you buy at gas stations. A burner phone. I almost put it back. It wasn't my business. Maybe he used it for work. Maybe it was old, forgotten. But something made me open it. Maybe curiosity. Maybe instinct. The text history made my blood run cold. Messages to David's number. Dozens of them. Spanning 5 years. Saw Sophia at the Hilton bar Tuesday night. Wasn't alone. Does she still talk to her ex? They looked pretty close. Just thought you should know, Sophia's Tinder profile is still active. Every single anonymous message David had received. All sent from this phone. My father's burner phone. I sat in the driver's seat, staring at the screen, feeling reality rearrange itself around me. My father had been doing this. For 5 years. Systematically sending messages designed to make David doubt me. Planting seeds of suspicion. Poisoning our relationship drop by drop. But why? I scrolled further. Found messages to other numbers. My Aunt Karen. My Uncle Tom. My mother's number. Group coordination. Planning which accusation to make next. Discussing how to make the lies more credible. Celebrating when David and I fought. She called crying again. I told her relationships are hard. Planted the idea of taking a break. David's wavering. Send another photo. Make it more convincing this time. If we keep this up, they'll break up by Christmas. I read every message. Every lie. Every coordinated attack on my relationship. 5 years of calculated sabotage. My family. My own family had been doing this. I took photos of everything. Every text. Every conversation. Hundreds of screenshots. Evidence of a conspiracy I still couldn't fully comprehend. Then I put the phone back exactly where I found it. Closed the glove compartment. Walked back into the house. My father was in the kitchen making coffee. Find your charger? No. Must have left it somewhere else. I smiled. Hugged him goodbye. Acted completely normal. Because I needed time. Time to think. Time to plan. Time to figure out what to do with this information. I drove home in a daze. Pulled into my parking spot. Sat there for 20 minutes, hands on the steering wheel, trying to process what I'd learned. David was inside. Working from home, probably in his office. I could hear him on a call when I walked in. I went to our bedroom. Closed the door. Sat on the bed. Pulled out my phone and looked at the screenshots again, making sure I hadn't imagined them. They were real. All of it was real. My family had spent 5 years trying to destroy my relationship. 5 years of lies, manipulation, gaslighting. 5 years of watching me suffer and pretending to comfort me while actively causing my pain. Why? That question consumed me for days. I couldn't sleep. Could barely eat. I went through the motions of work and life while my mind spun in circles trying to understand. David noticed something was wrong. You okay? You've been quiet. Just tired. Work stuff. I couldn't tell him yet. Not until I understood why. Not until I had a plan. I dug deeper. Went through old emails. Old texts. Looked for clues I'd missed. And slowly a pattern emerged. Every time David and I got serious, moved in together, talked about marriage, looked at rings, the anonymous messages intensified. Every time we seemed stable and happy, new evidence would appear. My family didn't want me to marry David. That much was clear. But why? I called my mother on Thursday. Casual check-in call. How are you, honey? Good. David and I are doing better lately. A pause. Just a fraction of a second. That's wonderful. But her voice was flat. Not happy. Neutral at best. We're talking about setting a date finally. Maybe next spring. Oh, that's fast, isn't it? Are you sure you're ready? Mom, we've been together 5 years. I know, but marriage is such a big commitment. You don't want to rush into it. We're not rushing. I just think you should be absolutely certain. David is nice, but is he really the right person for you? Long term. There it was. The subtle doubt. The careful questioning. The same tactics she'd been using for years. Just more obvious now that I knew what to look for. Why wouldn't he be right for me? I didn't say he wasn't. I just want you to be happy. To make the right choice. And you don't think David is the right choice? I think you deserve someone who fits better with our family. With our lifestyle. David is fine, but he's not. He's an architect, Sophia. He makes decent money, but not the kind of money you're used to. Not the kind of life we raised you to expect. And there it was. The real reason. Money. Status. David wasn't rich enough. Wasn't connected enough. Didn't fit the image my family had for my future spouse. So they'd tried to break us up. For 5 years. Systematically destroying our trust, rather than just being honest about their shallow, classist concerns. I was so angry I couldn't speak. Just said goodbye and hung up. That night, I told David everything. Showed him the screenshots. Explained what I'd found. He sat on the couch, phone in hand, scrolling through evidence that his paranoia hadn't been paranoia at all. That every doubt, every suspicion, every moment of mistrust had been deliberately planted by my family. When he finished reading, he was quiet for a long time. Then he looked at me with eyes that were both furious and heartbroken. 5 years. They did this for 5 years. I'm so sorry. David, I had no idea. I know. I know you didn't. He pulled me close. God, Sophia. I almost left you so many times. I thought I was losing my mind. I thought you were cheating and I was crazy for staying. You're not crazy. They made you feel crazy. That was the point. Why? I told him what my mother had said. About money and status and fitting in. About how David wasn't enough for their standards. He laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. So they tortured us for 5 years instead of just saying they didn't approve. Apparently. What do we do now? I thought about it. About 5 years of suffering. About nights spent crying. About the countless times we almost gave up. About the damage that had been done. The scars that would take years to heal. The family reunion is next weekend. Everyone will be there. All of them. Every person who helped with this. David's eyes met mine. Understanding exactly what I was suggesting. You want to expose them. I want them to face what they did. In front of everyone. He nodded slowly. Okay, let's do it. The family reunion was held at my parents' house. They hosted every year, a summer tradition going back decades. Extended family would come from across the country. Aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents. Everyone gathering to celebrate the Bennett family legacy. This year would be different. David and I arrived on time. I'd been careful all week, acting normal in texts and calls with my family, giving no indication that I knew anything. The house was full when we walked in. Maybe 40 people spread across the living room, kitchen, and backyard. The smell of grilled meat and summer flowers. Kids running around. Adults holding drinks and catching up. My mother hugged me at the door. "Sophia, I'm so glad you came. And David, how nice to see you." Her smile was perfect. Warm. Genuine looking. She'd had years of practice. "Good to see you too, Patricia," David said evenly. My father shook David's hand. "David, how's the architecture business?" "Busy. Can't complain." We moved through the crowd. I smiled, hugged relatives, made small talk. All while watching my family. My mother, my father, my Aunt Karen, my Uncle Tom. All the co-conspirators. They looked so normal. So happy. So innocent. David and I positioned ourselves near the center of the gathering. Visible to everyone. Then my Aunt Karen approached David. I was standing close enough to hear. "David, can I talk to you for a second?" She led him a few steps away. Glanced around to make sure I wasn't listening. But I was. "Are you sure about Sophia?" she whispered. David's jaw tightened. But he played along. "What do you mean?" I worry. She's wonderful, but relationships are complicated. You deserve someone you can fully trust." "I trust Sophia." "Do you? Really?" "After everything." I stepped closer. "After everything what, Aunt Karen?" She jumped slightly, turning to face me. "Oh, Sophia. I didn't see you there." "Clearly." Her smile faltered. "I was just expressing some concerns." "About me? To my fiancé?" Behind my back, people nearby started paying attention. Conversations quieting. "I just want what's best for both of you." "Do you?" I pulled out my phone. "Because I found something interesting last week." My mother appeared at my elbow. "Sophia, what are you doing?" Showing everyone the truth. I held up my phone, screenshots visible. For the past 5 years, David has been receiving anonymous messages. Accusations that I was cheating. Photos that looked like me with other men. Fake witnesses claiming they'd seen me doing things I never did. The backyard was quiet now. Everyone watching. We thought it was a stalker. Some random person trying to ruin our relationship. We spent years trying to figure out who. I looked at my father. Then I found the burner phone in Dad's car. My father's face went white. "Sophia," he started. "Every message. Every lie. Every carefully crafted piece of evidence. All sent from a phone in your glove compartment." I swiped through the screenshots, holding them up so people could see. The text messages. The coordination. The planning. My mother reached for my phone. "This is inappropriate." I pulled away. "Inappropriate? You spent 5 years trying to destroy my relationship, and I'm the one being inappropriate. We were trying to protect you. From what? From someone who loves me? From someone who makes me happy? From making a mistake?" She was crying now, mascara starting to run. "David is nice, but he's not right for you. He doesn't come from the right background. He doesn't have the right connections. He's not rich enough." I finished for her. "Not successful enough? Not good enough for your standards." She couldn't answer. I turned to address the whole gathering. My family has spent 5 years systematically sabotaging my relationship. Sending fake messages. Creating fake evidence. Coordinating lies to convince David I was cheating. Not because I was unhappy. Not because David was bad for me. But because he doesn't make enough money for their standards. My Uncle Tom cleared his throat. "Sophia, you're being dramatic." "Am I?" I pulled up another screenshot. "Here's a message from you, Uncle Tom. If they get engaged, we've failed. Push harder." "Want to explain what that means?" He looked away. "Aunt Karen, you've been telling David I'm untrustworthy for years. Every family gathering, you'd pull him aside with concerns. All coordinated with my parents." Karen's face flushed. "I thought we were helping." "Helping? You made him think I was cheating. You made him doubt everything about us. You almost destroyed something real because it wasn't expensive enough for you." My cousin Rachel spoke up. "Did you really do this?" She was asking my parents. The question hung in the air. My mother dabbed at her eyes. "We just wanted what's best for Sophia." "No," I said. "You wanted what looked best for you. You wanted me to marry someone you could brag about. Someone who fit your image of success. You didn't care if I was happy. You cared if I was impressive." My father finally spoke. "That's not fair. Isn't it? You've been lying to David for 5 years. Making him think the woman he loves was betraying him. Making him question his own sanity. All because you're snobs who think architects don't make enough money." David stepped forward. His voice was quiet but carried across the yard. I thought I was losing my mind. For 5 years, I questioned everything. Every late night Sophia worked. Every time she went out with friends. Every unexplained moment. I wondered if I was paranoid or if my gut was right. He looked at my parents. You made me doubt the best thing that ever happened to me. My mother reached toward him. David, we were just save it. His voice was cold. I don't want your excuses. He turned to me. I'm ready to go when you are. I nodded. Looked at my family one last time. I came here to tell you that I know what you did. That I have proof. That your 5 years of lies accomplished nothing except showing me who you really are. I took David's hand. We're getting married next spring. None of you are invited. Actually, none of you are part of my life anymore. I'm done. My mother was sobbing now. Sophia, please. You can't just cut us off. Watch me. I walked toward the door. David beside me. People parted to let us through. Behind us, I heard my father's voice. Sophia, wait. Let's talk about this. I didn't turn around. Didn't stop. Just kept walking. We got in the car. Drove away. Neither of us spoke for several minutes. Then David pulled over. Put the car in park. Turned to me. I'm sorry, he said. For what? For doubting you. For all those times I questioned. They made you doubt. That's what they wanted. You have nothing to apologize for. I should have trusted my heart instead of the evidence. The evidence was convincing. They spent years making it convincing. I took his hand. We survived them. That's what matters. He pulled me close. Held me tight. I love you, he whispered. I never stopped. Even when I thought I couldn't trust you, I never stopped loving you. I love you too. We sat there for a while. Processing. Breathing. My phone started buzzing. Texts from family members. Some apologizing. Some defending my parents. Some asking for details. I turned it off. That evening, we went back to our apartment. Made dinner together. Talked about the future. About the wedding we'd plan without my family's input. About the life we'd build. Over the next few weeks, the fallout continued. Some relatives reached out to apologize for believing the lies. Others cut ties with my parents over what they'd done. My family fractured, divided between those who thought my parents were wrong and those who thought I'd overreacted. I didn't care about any of it. I was done. David and I got married in March. Small ceremony. Just friends and David's family. People who'd supported us. People who'd never doubted. It was perfect. My mother sent a card. A long letter apologizing, explaining, asking for forgiveness. I didn't read it. Just filed it away with all the other evidence of what they'd done. Some wounds are too deep to heal. That. On our honeymoon, David and I stood on a beach in Greece. Watching the sunset. Holding each other. No regrets, he asked. About what? Cutting them off. Your family. I thought about it. About what I'd lost. And what I'd kept. No regrets, I said. They stopped being my family the moment they started those lies. He kissed my forehead. I'm your family now. You always were. We watched the sun sink into the ocean. The sky turning gold and pink and purple. Somewhere back home, my parents were living with the consequences of their choices. Ostracized by relatives. Ashamed. Sorry only because they'd been caught. I didn't feel bad for them. Some people steal money. Some people steal belongings. My family tried to steal my future. My happiness. My relationship with the man I loved. They failed. And now they'd lost me forever. If you've ever been sabotaged by people who claim to love you, if you've ever had to choose between family and your own happiness, if you've ever discovered that the people closest to you were your biggest enemies, remember this. You don't owe loyalty to people who betray you, even if they're family, especially if they're family. Blood doesn't excuse cruelty. Love doesn't include sabotage. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from people who will never stop trying to control you. If this story resonated, tell me where you're watching from. Share your experience if you're ready. And subscribe, because the next story might hit even closer to home.